Why was Rick Swann the champion on Impact Wrestling? Like, was there no one else? Was there literally no one else in wrestling that you couldn't sign and said, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna put the championship around your waist." Like Rick Swann was really the guy for Impact at this time. I looking back at it, because I know he had a match. He lost the title to Omega a while back. But just thinking about that for a second, I remember watching Rick Swann on 205 Live, and he came out there with the Finn Balor jacket, and he's just dancing, and I'm thinking, okay, this guy's he's over all right, but he's not really box office. He's not really, hold the championship for a while type of guy though. And the WWE didn't really see much in him, as I didn't at all. He lost to Neville at the time, got utterly destroyed. Like it was bad how bad Neville was beating people back then. But Rick Swann to me never really stood out. He was able to do the standing 450, which everyone can do now. Brian Cage could do that now if he wanted to. But just I was this like Impact given up at this time? Like you had Moose, you had Sammy Callahan, you had all these guys. You had Petey Willie. I mean, I know a lot of these guys aren't really household names though, but you're telling me none of them were better than having Rick Swann be the guy to run your championship belt? To run the gauntlet of all the guys that he's going to be fighting against? To be the face of the brand? I don't know. But I never saw anything special about him in the WWE. I never saw anything special about him in Impact. I think Kenny Omega put on an absolute show against him because, he's Kenny Omega, the greatest wrestler of all time. He can make anyone look good. But just, I think Impact Wrestling was in a bad, bad spot before AEW tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, you want to hang out sometime?" And now that they've made that deal, they have got to start shipping over guys from AEW over there. And they really got to start getting rid of guys from Impact. I mean, Christ, one guy's name is Black Taurus, and he's a guy with a Minotaur held on. Like that's like backyard wrestling crap at this point. When you get a guy who comes into the ring, like, can you imagine that as like a tryout? It's like, hey, what's your name? Oh, I'm Cody Rhodes. I'm a Dusty Rhodes kid. You know, I have this wrestling legacy and crap like that. If I come in there to a tryout and I'm wearing a Minotaur head and I say my name is Black Taurus, that's as far as the conversation should go. Like if I show up there and I'm covered in blood and face paint and like, hey, what's your name? Like, oh, I'm Crazy Steve. Like you put zero work into your character. Hey, Crazy Steve, what's your character? Well, I'm crazy. Hey, Black Taurus, what's your character? Well, I'm a Taurus who wants to be a wrestler. Okay. You don't have much going on at that point. Then you see, a Sammy Callahan. The name sounds cool and he's edgy and, he's wearing the bulletproof vest and, he's pile driving women. It was cool seeing a guy like that. He'll pop out the Legos and the thumbtacks. And he'll shave his head one day and, the baseball bat stuff with Brian Cage and, he power pile drives his wife. Like, these are all cool things to see. But when you had Rick Swann as the face of your company, holding your I mean, the guy again. I know it sounds weird though because I grew up watching, like the likes of Rey Mysterio, a cruiserweight that fought, he fought everyone. He fought Batista. He fought, Guerrero. He fought the Big Show. He fought Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. Like Rey Mysterio is different though. He's a cruiserweight in in number only. Rick Swann looks small. Rick Swann, isn't a big guy at all. he's weirdly shaped. He's got skinny arms and a kind of a thick torso, but he could do a Phoenix Splash though. So like his finisher for a while was the Black Mass, but he did it like Mickey James. It wasn't good. So when you got a guy like this as the head of your company, you're telling me all that I need to know about it, that I should stay away from watching Impact Wrestling. And when you have other guys that they're just gimmicks, I'm not really seeing much. And Impact, it was only a couple years ago when Brian Cage was fighting, Killer Cross. And I remember when Killer Cross, I forgot who he had up. He had a guy on the ropes, and he put a cinder block next to his face, and he told the referee to hold the cinder block. and, and Killer Cross punched the cinder block into the guy's face and broke it. Like that was cool. Now you got, like I said, you went from that, having the machine Brian Cage, being trapped on the ropes, watching Sami Callihan pile drive his wife into the ring. And then, like a year later, we got Rick Swann holding the title. Meanwhile, you got Moose there doing absolutely nothing. Moose, a guy that is a legit badass and can hold that title and looks good holding it. Your company's bad at this point. So, like I said, having AEW flirting with you, saying, you know what, we're gonna have Kenny Omega hang out with you guys. He's gonna build up your fan base. The Young Bucks are gonna come over too. This is what I think. This is my prediction. Okay, I think Omega's gonna lose the belt. I think the Bucks are gonna lose the belt on the same night, and then the next day, the next time, they're gonna be at Impact Wrestling. So they're gonna bring the club back. Okay, it's gonna be them, those three guys. They're gonna bring over Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, and they're just gonna be the main faction in Impact Wrestling. I don't know why there's not fans in Impact Wrestling right now. I guess if this is the roster you're putting out there, you don't deserve fans. But that is the state of Impact Wrestling at this point, though. They have nothing going on. Their only hope of success is if AEW helps them out, and I hope they do that. And I made a video too. But I don't know when I'm posting it though. It's about how Velveteen Dream should go to Impact Wrestling. I made this an interesting chart though. Okay, and I'm gonna make a full video about it though. I said, what if all the companies had this kind of swap and wrestler deal? So it's the WWE, Impact Wrestling, AEW, and New Japan. If they all formed a big deal together and they said, okay, we're going to rework the entire roster, okay? And this is your Impact Wrestling. Again, I was just kind of spitballing with it. And this is the roster I came up with Impact Wrestling. It's a 25-man roster, okay? And just let me know if this sounds like a cool roster, okay? I would have I would have Adam Hangman Page there. Okay, he's not doing much on AEW. I guess he's probably gonna win the belt from Omega in the upcoming months, though. But before that, when I made this list, Hangman was doing nothing. He was just hanging out with the Dark Order. I don't know what that storyline was going on, but he was just chilling with them for a while though. So I would have Adam Hangman Page, Alex Shelley, dare I say Black Taurus, because I had to fill out that roster somewhere. I would bring Carlito over. I would also bring over Primo and Epico, so you would have a three-man team. Keep Chris Sabian, team with Alex Shelley. I would have Darby Allin over there. I never believed in Darby Allin in AEW. I do not believe in him at all. I know he is an absolute box office draw, but realistically, I don't think Darby Allin can beat anybody. And it's really sad, and for a while, I thought they should have fired the guy. I would bring Elias over there too, because Elias is doing nothing. Elias is one of those talents that he's really good, but he's written terribly. You got nothing going on with the guy. Yet at the same time, he could put on a 5-star match. He could put on all these great brawls against everyone. And also, I would bring over Enzo as well. I know Big Cass, William H. Mosley, is over there now. I hate the name so much, but I'll bring back Enzo and Cass. Enzo's been working out a lot. He looks good. I thought his firing was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, how could you get fired with a false accusation? I've never heard about that before though. That's from the story that I saw of it. A woman said that he did something to her. She blatantly texted her friends about it, saying that, it was consensual. Because I would imagine, the worst possible thing to happen to someone, as soon as it ends, you're not out texting your friends bragging about it. So that allegation should have been squashed from the beginning, but I guess he was fired because he didn't tell them. But, who am I? Again, I'm not a lawyer, so I would definitely bring Enzo over. I think he definitely has star power. He made the cruiserweight division very tolerable. He was definitely the best part of it besides Neville. So you got those guys. I like Eric Young. I loved him with Sanity, but, Vince had other ideas to do with the perfect trio tag team. Eric Young is fantastic. He's still putting on a show at his age. I like Flip Gordon. I think he'd be a great addition to it. I would throw Kofi Kingston over there too. I'm not a fan of Kofi Kingston. I was never a fan of Kofi Kingston. In fact, I always advocated I think Big E should have been the champion over Kofi. And I really hope that Big E wins the Money in the Bank championship. Kofi somehow, on a wing and a prayer, wins the title. And then Big E turns on him and cashes in. I think that would have been fantastic. But I throw Kofi over there. I think he's definitely a guy with name recognition. Whenever I play 2K19, I'm always trying to do an Adam Page and Kofi Kingston feud. I don't know why. But for some reason, when I'm thinking about like, hey, I want to record a match, I always throw these two guys together, and I can never get the match perfect. Don't know why, but I think Kofi would be pretty good there. I like Mark Quinn going solo. Mark Quinn in another video talked about that. I think he has to get the hell away from Isaiah Cassidy. He has to go out on his own because right now that tag team is holding him back from what he could be. And after seeing him fight after seeing him fight Cody Rhodes, he put on a show that night, and that shows that he can do anything in AEW. So I'd like to see him go to Impact Wrestling, be the star there. Also, a surprising name, Mojo Raleigh. I know no one watches main event but me, and I'm like the only person in the world that knows what it is. But I was just watching main event, a couple of years ago. He was really good. And when Mojo went solo after, stopping being friends with Zack Ryder, he was having some great matches on main event. Of course, no one knows what they were though, but and for a while, I thought what a cool idea would have been if, Stephanie McMahon was the general manager of Raw and her two, bodyguards were Baron Corbin and Mojo Riley. I thought that would have been cool though. I could just picture, someone gets smart with them, throw them in the corner. Mojo does that running haymaker, throws them into the end of days. That'd be a great combination. I really like Mojo. I think he's really underrated. And after he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, they actually had that as a storyline where he talked to Shane about not getting any screen time and said, "Well, if you think I'm not good, it's one thing, but if you forgot about me, that's something else." They just forgot about him. Like I've never seen a guy win such a big match and then just nothing happened to him after. They forgot he existed, but I didn't. I thought he was good. So, like I said, I got Mojo on there. I'm gonna put Robert Roode on there. He was great on TNA. He was fantastic on NXT. He was terrible on the main roster. How do you get a guy like that? I honestly feel like I know it's gonna sound silly. I think is he Bobby Roode or Robert Roode? I'm gonna call him Robert Roode at this point. I don't even know. He changes his name. He gets a mustache randomly. I don't know what's going on with him. He has nothing going on. I know he's teamed with Dolph Ziggler right now, but like, what's the point of that? It's you're a placeholder champion. So I think Robert Roode, in my humble opinion, could have been the next Triple H. A guy that was a perfect heel. A guy that has the physical attributes to take any championship he wanted, who has the star power, the moves, everything, just the overall look of a heel, the ring presence, the mic skills, the attitude, just he had it. He has it all. I was gonna say had, but he's still there. There's still a chance to bring him back. And with the roster being what it is, I would love to see Robert Roode doing something these days. But I put him on Impact. I think him versus Kofi versus Eric Young versus Hangman, Darby Allin, that would be a hell of a show. And then I know I'm gonna get some crap for this. I bring over Ryback. I don't know why people hate Ryback so much. I hear the most ridiculous things that people say online, that he hurts people, he's unsafe. I'm sorry, have you ever watched wrestling ever? It's not safe. I was watching the Broken Skull podcast where Stone Cold Steve Austin's talking to different wrestlers every week. He was talking to Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle just broke his neck. So if I just broke my neck, the last thing I want to do ever is get into a ring with someone, let alone Brock Lesnar. So he breaks his neck, and he told Vince, I'm going to get surgery. And Vince said, well, can you put it off until after WrestleMania and you could lose to Brock Lesnar? All right, so let me get straight. I just broke my neck, and I'm going to go fight Brock Lesnar. And people have the audacity to say that Ryback is dangerous, that he hurts people. No, the difference is that Ryback is so gigantic that he hurts people that are smaller than him because he doesn't know his own strength. I know that's not the perfect thing you want in a wrestler, but maybe people have to stop being such crybabies about this. Like Nia Jax, Nia Jax is a heavyweight woman in a division where every woman is like 120 pounds or less. So of course she's hurting people. She's going against, the tiniest people. So same thing with Ryback. He's gigantic. He's kicking everyone's ass. I don't know why people hate Ryback so much, but I like him. I think he would be the greatest, as great as a Jake Hager. When he debuted on AEW, it was like, oh my god, Jake Hager's back. Yeah, but when he was on the WWE though, he was nothing. The ratings dropped. I actually saw a funny picture recently of a fan hold up a sign that says Jake Hager champions equals bad ratings. It is. He's not a great champion. He's not a great draw. But you put Jake Hager on a team with the inner circle as the muscle when he has Chris Jericho as the mouthpiece and all these great wrestlers around him, Jake Hager's going to shine. Same thing with Ryback. Put him on a team. Maybe make the Dark Order with Adam Page, but realistic, where they're getting actual people that aren't 5'2" cruiserweights. Another guy I'll put is Sammy Guevara. Sammy didn't want to go to Impact. Sammy had some heated conversations with AEW management because they wanted to ship him over there. And I sent Sammy a message saying you should go to Impact. Why? You'll be the top star there. You will be the main guy in Impact Wrestling, and you will be in every single rivalry. You will be headlining every main event. You will be headlining every pay-per-view. They will make you into the biggest star. He will have the the same treatment that when Triple H made Evolution, how he got Batista and Randy Orton. He would have that treatment where we are going to make you a superstar, F everyone in the backstage, you are going to be the man, and they know it. Sammy Guevara has everything you want in a guy leading your company. I've never seen a guy do the 630 senton as many times as he did in the most beautiful way that puts Ricochet to shame with it. When I saw Sammy Guevara, my favorite match with him is him versus Darby Allin at Revolution. And I know that pay-per-view had the greatest tag team match of all time and a great title match with Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho. But my favorite match and the match that I will show people when I want to get them into wrestling is Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara. That's a great match. So Sammy would be great there. Again, like I said, this whole list, I'm bringing over New Japan as well, though. Taji Ishimura. I am in love with that guy. I don't know what it is. I just see everything about that guy. He is just the coolest guy on that roster. The Bone Collector. What a cool name. He's got great moves and everything, too. He's got a great look. I would love to see Taji Ishimura over in the States fighting people. Because he could put on a show. He is just there's not enough great things you could say about this guy. Like I just crapped on, Jake Hager a few minutes ago. Tachi's the exact opposite. Everything this guy does is money. And if you put him in the ring with an Elias, a Darby Allin, a Black Taurus, he could steal the show. Another guy that could steal the show is Tommaso Ciampa. Tommaso Ciampa is doing absolutely nothing on NXT UK except I'm sorry. Tommaso Ciampa is doing nothing on the NXT division right now except losing. I don't know why Tommaso Ciampa is there. I bet he told Triple H, if you send me the main roster, I am going to quit wrestling forever. There is nothing good about him in NXT right now. He had some incredible matches against Timothy Thatcher, a guy that I think is going to be the next Jon Moxley one day. But right now, you are doing nothing with him. He's just in these big name matches, and he keeps losing. There is nothing good about Tommaso Ciampa right now in NXT. And Tommaso Ciampa is probably the best guy in NXT. So right now, I'd get rid of him. Just throw him on Impact Wrestling. I'm not. I still got a couple guys left on this list though. He can have 5-star matches against all these guys. These are dream matches right here. These are like Survivor Series when you see him and Randy Orton walking around the ring looking at each other. It's like, oh my god, this match is gonna get off. This is gonna be a match of the future, and I'm gonna love watching this. Tommaso Ciampa versus Seth Rollins. That's a fantastic match. And you look at Survivor Series and thinking, why hasn't this match happened yet? So, like I said, I put him over there too. Another guy is Tony Nese, a guy that on 205 Live did very little, but he was very good still. I think Tony Nese is one of those untapped potentials because I saw him on NXT and he was doing great there. Went to 205 Live, did nothing. He's just a victim of circumstance. We'll go with. And I think he has so much potential left. And I think Impact Wrestling having him fight a Tommaso, having him fight a Taji, Sami Guevara, ooh, that'd be good. That'd be great for wrestling. Trey Miguel, my God, athleticism off the charts. Look fantastic. Uniqueness about him. He I probably know less about Trey Miguel than any person that watches Impact Wrestling. I've watched just mainly highlights of him. Like there's a guy on YouTube that posts like top moves of certain people though. Watching him, I put him on this list after watching that list. I'm like, this guy is money. This guy is absolute box office. Why is this guy not the champion? Why is why does a company have a guy like Rick Swann leading their division when you got this guy? Ooh, he's good. Another guy is Velveteen Dream. I believe he was innocent. I am not a lawyer at all. I'm only telling you what I saw. I saw a situation where he was accused of something, and an investigation was done, and they found nothing. Yet they still kept him out of the main storylines because of fan perception. He didn't do it if an investigation was done and they found nothing. Especially in a world today where the accusations were he was either sending photos of himself or asking for photos. You could probably find that information. And people say, oh, they just paid off the kid. Why would you? He's not John Cena. He's not Brock Lesnar. He's not Daniel Bryan. He's not the face of your company. Your company is not crumbling because Velveteen Dream has an accusation against him. There is no reason to protect him, especially since you've done nothing with the guy. No, I don't think he's done it. I don't think he did anything wrong. I believe this is just a really bad thing that happened to him. Someone said something that he did. I remember people were saying there's an audio record of Velveteen saying, "How old are you?" I'm sorry. That does not. It could have been anyone's voice. There's a guy going, "Hey, how old are you?" Like, I did not hear that. Go, oh my god, that's Velveteen Dream. I heard a white guy do a Morgan Freeman impression. Okay, now I don't think Velveteen did anything wrong, but to his wrestling ability, Velveteen's box office. Velveteen Dream is probably one of the most underrated NXT talents ever, which is crazy because usually people are superstars in NXT, go to the main roster, do absolutely nothing. But Velveteen did nothing on NXT really. He had some great matches. He was the mid card North American champion for a little bit before losing it to Roderick Strong. Had a bad car accident after his allegations were cleared of everything like that, and now he's gone. He's out of the WWE because of fights with management. And you know what? I would have fought with management too. If I'm one of the best guys in the roster and you're doing nothing with me, you bet your ass I'd be upset about this. I would have started an OnlyFans account just so you could fire me, and then I would go over to AEW or something like that, though. So, Impact Wrestling, I'd take him because he'd be a superstar there. He'd make everyone better around him. Is his name Morsley now, or did they get rid of the W? Oh my God, Big Cass is awesome when he was there. I thought he was going to be the heir apparent of Test. I think every generation needs a guy like Test, and it's sad that a lot of people have no idea who the hell I'm talking about. Test is like Big Cass, just just like 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. Just a massive mountain of a man, had pretty much the same look. He looks exactly like Test did back then, where he's really ripped, and he just big booted people's faces off. And Test did the perfect big boot, and Big Cass is such on par with that. And I thought after he broke up with Enzo, he would go on to be in the Monster of SmackDown. And I was hoping that, Braun Strowman be the Monster of Raw. They would both win the mid card title or the heavyweight championship, and a Survivor Series have a Monster versus Monster match. That never happened. Big Cass got embarrassed by Daniel Bryan a couple times. He got embarrassed by Braun Strowman a couple times. He got a spray tan so dark that he could have been with the New Day. He just looked ridiculous, and then he was gone. He had some problems backstage. He kicked the door down in a bus after he took a massive crap, and that was it. Now he's on Impact Wrestling. He looks fantastic. I'd love to see him fighting some bigger name talent there. Definitely not Rick Swann, but he's going to be a superstar there. He's going to be just revitalized to to a new level at this point. And the last person on the list of Impact Wrestling would be Zack Saber Jr. Zack Saber Jr. Say that name 3 times fast. I think Zack Saber is fantastic. Just submission specialist at the same level of Daniel Bryan or a la Chris Benoit. Just what a great worker in the ring. Just a grappling submission specialist like that. And there are not a lot of guys in wrestling that could do what Zack Saber does. And to see that just mix of athleticism and submission hold just to grab you from any position. And that was the best thing, though. Just seeing him do a multitude of different submissions, like a Pete Dunne, where, I like how Pete just grabs the fingers and he'll just twist your finger. And that would just be like the worst thing in the world to do to someone. I think Zack Saber could do that stuff. And I would build the company around him. Him versus Guevara versus Tommaso Ciampa. That is how I see Impact Wrestling. So again, I'm going to go through the list really quick though. So it's Adam Page, Alex Shelley, Black Taurus, Carlito, Chris Sabian, Darby Allin, Elias, Enzo Amore, Epico Cologne, Eric Young, Flip Gordon, Kofi Kingston, Mark Quinn, Mojo Raleigh, Primo Cologne, Robert Roode, Ryback, Sammy Guevara, Taji Ishimura, Tommaso Ciampa, Tony Nese, Trey Miguel, Velveteen Dream, W. Morsley, and Zack Sabre Jr. That is my Impact Wrestling roster. That is dream match potential right there. It's not going to happen though anytime soon, but that'll be perfect though. So let me know what you guys think about my list. What do you think about Rick Swann? What do you think about Velveteen Dream? There was a lot to unpack with this match. I've been talking for almost half an hour right now though. This is what Impact Wrestling should be. It should not be this ridiculous backyard wrestling gimmick factory. It used to be great. Just a couple of years ago, we had Karrion Kross versus Brian Cage. What matches we had back then? Johnny Impact was still kicking everyone's asses. It's crazy to see what happened in just a couple of years, though. But I think Impact Wrestling is going to come back within the next 2 years. I think it's going to be fighting with SmackDown and Raw for #1 ratings again with against AEW as well, though. It's going to be such a wild ride though. But right now, it needs something right now. Definitely a shot of epinephrine right now. So let me know what you guys think about all this.